You're welcome once again to Talk 30 Education with Buki Lawal. Today on this show, I'll be talking about the topic sex education. I want to tell all our viewers to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Talk 30 Education. And as I was saying, I will be talking about sex education. Sexual immorality is on the high rate these days. And one of the reasons for this is unwanted pregnancies or distraction of boys because of sexual immorality. And with me on this show today is Pastor Victor Olukoju, popularly known as PVO. He is the CEO of Wait International. He is the provost of Sexual Purity Academy and is the founding president of Parable Films Production in Nigeria. He is campaigning for World Sexual Purity Day on the 14th of November. And he is an author of several books, especially the one titled 22 Ways to Say No to Sex. You're welcome on this show, sir.
Yes, thank you, man. God bless you. It's been a while.
Thank you. Thank God, sir. Like I said earlier, that sexual immorality is on the high side today. And it's actually a distraction for students. It's causing unwanted pregnancy and distraction for men or boys to complete their education, which is increasing the out-of-school rates in Nigeria. Sir, what can you say about sexual immorality among students?
Sexual immorality among students. Yeah, it's a topic that is as wide as the ocean. It's so large, it's so big because we have many variations to it, but let me just pick one or two. Okay, for instance, when I was growing up with my parents, we didn't have access to so many things, like mobile phone. All right, I remember then we used to have this Philips television that used to have two doors. You lock it from this side, you lock it from this side, and then my dad will lock it with the key, and then he can put it in his pocket. And then you don't have access to television. And then even if you have access, transmission used to start around 4 p.m. And then by 12 it is over. You won't see so obscene, X-rated pornography. You won't see girls dancing with brassiere and pants on the TV. You will not see them. But today is totally different. You see parents leaving their children at home in front of a TV, and the remote is in the hand of a child of about 10 years, and with that remote, he has over 100 channels that you can turn to. And most of these channels today, like the Yoruba man will say, you go here, you see a guy kissing a girl, you go to another one, you see somebody wearing pants and brassiere, you go to it's just like that. And what do you expect this child to do? And the child also has access to the mobile phone. With that mobile phone, he can access YouTube, he can see a lot of X-rated stuff, he can see pornography. With time, many of them want to practice what they see in their mobile phone, and that gives rise to sexual immorality. And some of them that I have met personally, some of them that I've discussed with, some of them that I've counseled with, I remember a guy told me that after watching porn for a while, and he was even looking for girls to sleep with, and he could not access one, what he did was to look for money and went after prostitutes, a young man. And the problem, then was, when he was discussing with me, was that he could not sleep in a day without having sex with a girl. And that was a problem, So we have a whole lot of them like that. They're in our campuses, they're in our schools, and that has given rise to sexual immorality. I'm just mentioning one out of many because this program will not give us opportunity to talk about so many, but this is one, but it's a very, very critical one. And of course, so you see girls getting pregnant, and you see guys having their way. A guy cannot be pregnant. It's the girl that will lose more at the end of the day. They're out of school, and the guy maybe is moving to another school. So I want to encourage parents to please be very, very careful what their children, look at in their mobile phone. And it is not every child that you can give this stuff to. And if you give it to them, you need to guide them on how to use it.
So that means that information is important.
Very, very important.
To guide these children. Then that brings me to talking about sex education. That what can you say is sex education?
Sex education. There are two words that are put together in one. You have sex, then you have education.
Yeah.
All right, you are an educationalist.
Yes.
Educationalist. All right, so an educationalist gives what do I say now? Knowledge.
Yeah.
All right, impute knowledge in other people.
Yeah.
All right, so when you're talking about sex education, you're talking about what sex is all about, the use of it, the abuse of it, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So my own definition of sex education, from my own point of view, is this: teaching the children about sex, what it is all about. For instance, who made sex? Who made us sexual beings? How should you make use of sex? Because I see sex as a product. All right? And in every product, you have a manual that goes with the product. All right? The manual is to teach the buyer of the product how that product must be used. All right? Microphone, for instance, is a product. We are using mic to record what we're saying today. It would be wrong for me to carry the microphone and dump it inside a pot of soup. If I do that, that is an abuse of that product. And that, of course, the warranty will be voided if I do that. So for sex, the person that made it is God. And the reason why he has created it is for procreation, is for enjoyment between a man and the wife and the husband, between married people, heterosexual marriage, because today, in our world, we talk about even homosexual marriages and stuff like that. So sex education to me is teaching the children what this is for. All right, God wants you to have sex, but He says you need to wait until you get married. It is quite very, very important. But some people talk about sex education in other ways. After sex education, children go for practicals. They even give them condom, all right, and say that you can go ahead so far you use condom and things like that. And that's what they call sex education. To me, that is not sex education, because it's the other day I was asking a question: is it possible to do a right thing in a wrong way? Or how did I put that question? Is it possible to do a wrong thing in a right way? That's the question.
Okay.
Is it possible to do a wrong thing
in a right way?
Sex outside of marriage is wrong according to the creator of sex. Now, how do you now do that in the right way? So our young people should be taught patience. Just wait. All right? Wait. That's just it.
Yeah, with what you just said, I want to ask that, should school students be taught or be exposed to the talk of sex and its consequences?
Yeah. Should they be
educated?
Yeah, if we don't educate them, there are other things that will educate them. All right? A boy who happens to be a son of one of my friends saw in the TV a man having sex with a woman. Some of this stuff, this Nollywood and Hollywood stuff that you watch in the TV, you are watching a story, and suddenly, boom, you just see some people kissing, or some people just strip naked and things like that. And the child is there, what do you do? And that child told the mother, I said, Mommy, they are doing wee. To him, it's sex. You understand? So if you don't guide them, if you don't tell them, there are other things that will tell them. So we will be safer to sit them down and teach them parts of the body, what they are meant for. Your eyes is meant to see. What are other things that you can do with your eyes? Maybe to cry. You know, they will tell you other things they can do with their eyes. What about your nose? All right, they will tell you. What about your mouth? What about your hand? They will begin, you know, until you now begin to go to the private parts. What about your penis, that thing that is in between your two legs? What about your vagina? What do you do with it? Some of them will say to Google, any other thing, you know, just grab it like that. And some of them will say, okay, it's to Google, because they can't even think about any other thing. Then you now begin to teach them, you know, that part can be used for sex. And this is what sex means. And if you are not married, you cannot have it. If one uncle comes and touch that place, what do? You know, you begin to tell them, all right, how to identify predators and how to report, you know, because some of these predators, over 90% of them are people around, people that we know, relatives. They are not outsiders.
Yes.
You know, so if a child comes and say, uncle is touching my bum bum, you don't know whether it's the one in the front or the one at the back. But if the child comes and says, uncle was touching my vagina, you know that
there's fire on the mountain.
We need to do something. So we need to equip them, we need to educate them, we need to teach them what to do. And if one uncle say, mommy said, no, you should not touch that place, uncle, leave me alone. You understand what I'm saying? The child will begin to shout. You know, so the earlier we begin to teach them, the better for us, parents and teachers.
Oh, thank you, sir. That takes me to the next question. I wanted to say, who should be responsible for that? Is it parents or school?
Parents basically should be responsible for that. You don't dump your children in school. Well, how many minutes, how many hours do they spend in school per day? How many? Do you even know the orientation of the teachers concerning sexual stuff? You know, you may not have an idea, you know, because if the idea they have negates your own values, that's an issue. All right?
Yeah.
A friend of mine, you know, living in the US came and said, you know, the children came from school one that was asking that how many types of marriages do we have? So, what kind of question is that? Said that there are many, because in school they were teaching them more than two. We know marriage between what do they call this? The marriage between a man
and a woman.
But over there, they will not teach marriage between a man
and a man.
Marriage between a man and a man. Marriage between a woman and a woman. Marriage between a man and an inanimate object. Different kind of things that they teach them in school. You know, so it's necessities laid upon the parents to sit their children down and teach their own values. So if they go to school and they teach them contrary things, they are coming and mommy, they are teaching us this, then you know what to tell them, because they spend more time. You can't just leave your children to the school. It's just like parents that are leaving their children to the hands of house help. It's dangerous. All right, we know that the school have their own responsibility, but the major aspect, the major part of it is for the parents. God gave you these children, you know, and you must take care of them. You must insert in them, you must put in them some values that are godly.
But what do we say about those parents that find it difficult to actually talk about sex? Like you said earlier, that you have never remembered any time your father say, sit down, let's talk about sex. And what I've discovered these days, because of how they were also brought up, there was no time. They see the talk of sex as being weird or something like an abomination to talk about, and they leave these children to discover those things as they grow up. So what do we say about such parents that actually find it difficult? What should they do?
Well, what I would advise for me is this. There are different ways to start conversations. You know, if you happen to be one of such parents and you are listening to us right now, you find it difficult because maybe your own parents didn't teach you so, but the society that we live in now says that you must do something very fast. You can get a book. You can get a book and say, read this book, and after that, let's discuss. You know, you can note your questions down and let's discuss. And as God will help us, we have fantastic books on how to start some of these things. You know, we have some experts in that area. In this country, somebody like Prince Fowowe, you know, does a lot about that. We have Dr. Princess Kayode that does a lot about that. They have books, you know, that you can pick and give to some of these children to read. All right, some of them have even done songs. They have done a whole lot of research about this area that are working, you know, you can get some of these materials and give it to them. They read and they get back and say, Mommy, what about this? What about this? Is now an opportunity. So if you can start a conversation, there are things that you can get to help you start a conversation and you give to them. And I think that would go a very, very long way.
Thank you so much, sir. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. You're welcome back to Talk Sexy Education with Buki Lawal. We've been discussing on the topic sex education with Pastor Victor Olukoju, popularly known as PVO. He is the author of a book, 22 Ways That We Can Say No to Sex. And he has dealt with a lot of questions, talking about sexual immorality among students. He has talked about how it is important for parents to sit their children down and talk about sex, that they are never too young to learn about sex. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
In the last section, you said that parents should definitely sit their children down.
Yeah, they should be involved.
Involved in teaching their children about sexual purity talk.
Yeah.
From what age do you think they should start this talk?
From what age? I can't say from a particular age, but I would say that when a child is grown enough to ask you some certain questions, then you should be ready to begin to teach that child. You know, when a child is beginning to learn how to talk, you should start teaching that child, because from whatever age, they are already exposed to some of these things that we are talking about. The society is so terrible and a lot of things are coming in. I remember my first daughter was in primary school. We were in Accra then. One day she came to my office and then she asked, Daddy, what is sex? I was like, start to. Before I could put myself together, then she landed the second question, what is condom? And then I was still looking at her, and then she came up with what is contraceptive.
Wow.
She was in primary school. All right. Obviously, she's been following us for programs, and she's been hearing those words repeatedly, you know, and then she came to ask. And it was a big opportunity for me to sit her down and begin to tell her, this is what sex is, this is what condom is, this is what contraceptive is. And then this is the stage that you are now. This is the time that you can use, you can make use of these products and like that. And then I remember another day I was discussing with a woman, and we're talking about sex education, we're talking about the programs that we do in school. And the woman's son was seated, you know, beside us. And then at some point we're talking about condom. And then the woman out of curiosity just looked at the son and said, come, have you seen condom before? And the boy scratched his head and said, no, but I have seen a used one before. Now, the mother was confused. I was confused as well. Now, the question is, how did he know that the condom he saw was already
used? Okay.
That's a lot. If you want to open it, that's a lot. All right? So that child knew more than what we thought. Okay? So from whatever age, the child is learning how to talk. You are taking the child to the bathroom. You know, the child is now, you know, having emotions and all those. You begin to teach the child about this, about that. You know, some couples, some parents will even have it in such a way that if the child is a girl, they will just agree, okay, mom will be waiting for the child. You know, sometimes the child will say, why is daddy not waiting for me? And then the mom is now explaining some body parts and all those things, you know. You begin to give them their privacy. You don't just bump into their room anyhow at some certain stage of their lives. That they are now begin to get conscious of their bodies. And sometimes when they don't even know the difference, you begin to tell them, you are a girl, you are a boy, you don't sleep in the same room, you know, because of this, because of that, and then begin to get aware of who they are. So as early as possibly you can, you begin to teach them. That's what we advise, because we live in a generation that is so bad.